welcome to the February 26th Historic District Board of Review meeting. Can we have roll call?
Carol Ann Rogers.
Present.
Michael Zink.
Here.
Mike Pittman.
Here.
Happy Smith.
Here.
Ken McWilliams.
Here.
Sandy Palmer.
Here.
And Jed Skillman.
Here. I would like to welcome a new member to the board, Jed Skillman. Welcome.
Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. He's our 7th person on the board, so glad to have you. Thank you. Give you an idea of what we're going to do tonight. We're going to go through our applications. Nicole will read a brief summary of what the application is, and then we'll have you come up and explain what you're going to do there. And the board can ask questions, and the public can give comments or questions if they have them. So, with that, we'll start into the agenda. We have approval of minutes. Does everybody have a chance to review the minutes from the last meeting?
I move we accept them as submitted.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call vote for those that were here?
Mike Pittman.
Approve?
Happy Smith.
Approve.
Carol Ann Rogers. Ken McWilliams.
Approve.
Sandy Palmer.
Approve.
Michael Zink.
Approve.
Jed Skillman was not part of the meeting then, so we'll have you marked as abstain.
Okay. Our first application has been withdrawn. Our second application is from Russell Benkert at 423 Mill Street. A certificate of appropriateness to remove current windows and replace chimney with more environmentally friendly aluminum clad windows. Oh, excuse me, remove current windows. Yes. Oh, Nicole, I'm sorry.
I'm pretty capable of doing it. I'm
No,
perfectly
but
fine.
you
already stumbled.
yeah, Nicole, you do a much better job. Go
Sure.
ahead.
So this is a contributing 1875 duplex, zoned historic district residential. Their COA request is to remove current windows and replace them with aluminum clad windows, remove siding and house wrap and replace with LP Smart siding, remove the windows in the bedrooms on the second level that are 12 inches from the floor to make it safe for children. Remove fireplace and chimney at the rear of the house and leave the chimney on the front part of the house. Open up the covered rear porch and possibly add a dormer to the roof similar to the adjoining duplex. And then finally remove door on north side of the house. So I'll go through the pictures that were submitted by the applicant, and then we can open it up for questions and discussion.
Okay.
So the X's are chimney, the two windows, and the door to be removed, and then the larger X is the rear porch that the applicant wants to open. A variety of photos showing the condition of the siding, as well as the chimney. And then several photos provided by the applicant of the condition of the current windows. And these are the two windows on the second level that show their height from the floor. And that is all of the photos provided by the applicant.
Okay, Russell, you have any comments or?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
I have questions.
Fire away.
The windows in the very front there, did you want to remove those as well, or you just want to move them up?
The windows in the front of the house,
Uh-huh.
they're on Mill Street, they're gonna get replaced.
Okay.
The plan.
And the ones on the side, you want to take those out completely?
On the upstairs, yeah, cause they're
Yeah,
about a foot from the floor level.
They're 12 inches off the floor, I understand. Okay, and you want to take them out completely?
Yes.
And why is it you want to remove the chimney?
The chimney's in bad shape. I've looked inside of it now, and there's been a lot of water coming through. A lot of the brick, and it's not very stable. It's kind of deteriorated from all the water intrusion.
Okay, And then the door on the north side there, I live just off Third Street as well. I pass that door a lot. It's a very narrow door, I noticed. What reason did you want to take that door out?
Honestly, I don't think it's like a historic door. I don't believe it. I think it's been replaced in the 2000s. And I honestly just don't really want an access point from that Third Street.
Okay. If you do that, then are you gonna close in the inside so you'll have more wall space?
Yes.
That's the way I saw that, okay. Right. Have you met your next door neighbor, your duplex guy?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Are they looking to change their front view, in your opinion, or do you know?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Did we not have from last month, a letter from the neighbor?
I didn't receive a letter,
Oh, she she came and she
they made
appeared.
comments at the board meeting, yeah.
And hers was basically about the new siding,
Correct,
right? And
that's,
how that would affect her
yes,
side.
cause what she mentioned at the last board meeting was that the siding on the front is full length. So she had questions about how you plan to cut the siding in order to install the new siding on your half.
If you don't mind, I was unable to be here for the last meeting. What answers did she get?
He wasn't here at the last meeting.
I got you. Sorry.
It was just a public comment.
Okay.
So Russell, we'd like for you to address how are you going to make that cut if you're approved to replace all that siding? How are you going to cut it so it doesn't affect the integrity of the entire building?
The plan would be to cut a 4-inch section out between the two residences, make a vertical run, and then start new siding on the 423 mil.
4-inch? I didn't understand.
Yeah, it's like a cut right in the center, 2 inches on both sides, with a 4-inch vertical run, caulk both sides, and start new siding on the north side there.
So you're going to cut 4 inches will include 2 inches of your neighbor's siding?
Correct. I can go, I thought it looked better if it went center, but I can also move it all 4 on my side.
Based on what we heard from the person speaking for your neighbor, I don't think you're going to get support from your neighbor to cut her siding. So that's how I interpret what your neighbor is saying. So.
I guess the other question we had there were a lot of pictures of deteriorated wood on the windows. Did not see, and from looking at the property and walking around it, it's hard to see major deterioration of the wood siding that's on there now, except for maybe in places.
The west side, I believe needs totally replaced, and on the east side, where there's been a lot of water coming in off the roof, you can see in the picture on the left there, a lot of that siding needs are torn off, and then
Is that the side or the fascia? I mean,
the picture on the left is the east side.
By your front door?
front
Yep.
door, okay. I guess if we start going through the guidelines, there's a lot of concerns with this, I guess.
The only question I have about the siding is have you talked to the neighbor to see if you could do the whole siding along the front of the house so it's all uniform?
I haven't, but I can do that.
I guess in my comment would be in looking at that picture, it looks like you might have more problem with your gutter than you do the siding.
Agreed. That's the source of the rot.
Yeah. Is that a box gutter up there, or is that in other words, is it? It looks like a box gutter, so.
So I have some questions about your willingness to look at other options. Are you willing to look at the options of just repairing the patches or the sections of the siding that need to be repaired versus all of the siding to keep it the historic appearance?
I think so. It depends, like if I can remove the siding on the west side.
Yeah.
And use anything good to repair.
Yeah.
I just think going two different materials, kinda looks funny to me, so.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, the goal would be to try to do that, staying within, keeping as much of the integrity of the property as it was built. Is that my microphone? The goal would be to try to do that as much as possible, and that being part of a duplex might be helpful. I mean, in keeping that a little bit more keeping more conformity versus, splitting those two up. But I looked and I saw places of rot, but I didn't see, like, some locations where we go or we check things out from the street, we can visibly see a lot of rot versus, maybe just a few locations or places where you can remove that and replace it and patch it versus, replacing everything.
And when you speak about the west side of the house, you're talking about the part that is behind the porch that you want to remove?
Correct.
Or, okay, which is, we can't see that, but that's one of the main areas if you're concerned.
Yep.
And is the chimney there in the picture, is that in the front or the back?
That's in the back,
And that's the one you wanna take off?
correct.
That doesn't look very bad. My chimneys don't look that good.
I'm sorry to hear that.
My chimneys don't look that good.
This is the one, this is their neighbors.
Since Mike brought up the chimneys, I'll just kind of echo that. When you walk down Third Street going west, you see the two duplex chimneys. You see your chimney and you see your neighbor's chimney, very nicely silhouetted there. Somehow in this picture, you're not really seeing them as easily as you are when you're walking down that sidewalk. Anyway, you're seeing the two chimneys nicely outlined there. I'm a little worried how the whole building will look when should you now remove your chimney and leave your neighbor's chimney up, because you do have a mirror matching both sides of your duplex. So that was one concern. I also looked pretty closely at your siding, and as the other members have said, I felt like a lot of it was in good shape. Some really bad patches, but a lot of it was in pretty good shape. My other question is about your second story windows, where you want to actually remove the window openings, make them gone, and now put siding in their place?
Correct.
So that's a big change to a building. It's not just changing a window out, it's completely changing the opening there. I was wondering if you would consider a less permanent, less drastic maybe option there. People around town put these window inserts in their windows. Here's a couple pictures of them here. You can nail these up, you can make them out of plywood, you can make them taller than they're shown here. So they would really render those windows pretty childproof, and you could keep your window opening and have a pretty attractive looking facade if you did something like that. Might you consider that?
If I have to, I might, but I'd rather not.
But then you'll have a bedroom with no windows, right?
Or there'd be a window on the east and west side
Okay.
of each bedroom.
Is this just one big room up there?
No, it's two bedrooms,
Okay.
and a bathroom in the center with a smaller window,
Oh, where that little window is?
correct.
Okay.
And then you're replacing the decayed windows with aluminum windows. Have you considered replacing them with wooden windows?
Well, the windows I have quoted are wooden with aluminum clad.
Well, I mean, I did it to an old house 20 years ago. We got windows that were faced in wood. They were available then. I don't know what's available now.
I haven't checked availability. My understanding was that the aluminum clad wood was okayed by
Okay.
this point panel or board.
I think the issue that I'm having is that you've got a mirror house on the other side, and from the street, and again, we can't go inside. You've got an advantage on us. You can go inside. But I don't see the deterioration in those windows that would require the removal. I would think that if you're gonna repair the siding, you could also probably repair the windows at the same time. Have the same person do it.
The one in, right next to, this one over here, I pulled that out, and I've got that in the garage. inside's pretty rotted from all the, condensation from the single pane. I've got a lot of Bondo and different things, and just trying to get that window look kinda correct. And I'm really struggling. I think you can see the condensation on that picture. Causing all the rot.
I guess when we get to the guidelines, it's, I mean, I think what we're all struggling with, generally on a side that's visible, and your, north side is, removing windows and removing doors is gonna be problematic. I mean, it's not going to be within our guidelines. Repairing the windows or changing that, we can probably get to, acceptable material, but, the porch, I think that one is not a historic structure they add on, that's not gonna be much of a problem or against guidelines, but, I think removing the two windows and the doors, as I read the guidelines, are gonna be pretty tough to justify.
And it's not so much that it's the door, cause to your point, it's a replacement door, the door's been replaced, it's about the opening, and so when you're going through the guidelines are pretty specific about, what types of modifications can be made to exterior structures. And that's where, if it becomes something that is permanent, it cannot be altered again or reverted back to the way that it was. So I think that's where I'm finding, some struggles is when we're going through our guidelines and we're looking, if we're taking and being very open to what the guidelines are telling us, then, and following them, it's saying that, we have to look at those things, and you have to go by people's houses and check them out and see what's going on. And it's not that we don't want you to we all want to lower electric bill, and in order to make that happen, we want to maintain our properties and make sure that our properties are kept up. It's just, when we also go through the guidelines, it's hard for us to be able to align with what you're trying to accomplish here. We can help you with a bigger picture and say, make recommendations, but as far as like getting approval to change all of these, that's where we're trying to ask questions in order to figure out how we can best help you.
Just quite an odd question here. How long have you owned this house?
Since December last year.
December of 3 months then,
Yeah,
right?
a few months.
Okay.
And because you ask here, about removing the fireplace, it's inside the house, you can do that if you like. But as far as the chimneys, it's very, very rare that we would ever allow a chimney to come down if they could be repaired in any way. And, have you had an engineer or someone that does that kind of work look at that?
No.
Okay. I would suggest you might want to do that because it might look a little rough, but I agree that when you've got two duplexes, they're mirror images. If you stand out front, one may be blue and one's red, but they are exactly alike. That's the way they built them. But we have so many of those in town, and they're very, very attractive, and they'll be different colors on different sides. But it's, unless the chimney is absolutely fallen in or falling over, I think you need to see if you couldn't have that repaired. At least the concrete outside of it, whatever it takes, and then cap the top of it to stop your leakage, whatever it takes to stop the leakage.
Okay, anything else from the board? Okay, any comments or questions from the audience? Okay, Sandy, would you like to take us through findings of fact?
Oh, yeah, okay, first finding facts is material wood siding and shingles, we talked. It's retain and preserve historic wood siding and shingles, term and ornamentation, which is what we've been talking about, that's a major guideline. And I'm not seeing what you're suggesting here of replacing the whole thing is within those guidelines. maintain existing original wood siding, shingles, trim, ornamentation, and other wood decorative elements. Repair existing wood elements whenever possible, and that's why we were all suggesting if there could be sections of it that were badly deteriorated, that you could just repair those sections. If a portion of the historic wall is deteriorated beyond repair, replace only the damaged portion. Avoid replacing clapboard siding with shingle siding or vice versa. I think that applies right now. The use of fiber cement siding may be approved for replacement of deteriorated wood siding, new structures, non-historic structures, and additions to historic homes not visible from public view.
Next,
Again, on chimneys, 57 through 58, retain original chimneys on their primary facade or locations readily visible from the public right-of-way. And as we've said, that's sort of a matching set on your house. Or you've got one of the matching set. Maintain the structural integrity of the original chimney following guidelines for brick and masonry, and replace original chimneys in kind. So I think your request to remove the chimney would not be in conformance with it. Guidelines and doors and entrances, retain and preserve original doors and entrances, maintain and preserve the original doors and entrances. Do not endorse or conceal or an original door opening or the primary facade or on an elevation readily visible from the public right-of-way, which your request is not in conformance with those guidelines. Porches. Reconstruct missing porches or porch details based on accurate documentation of such features. I think you're tearing off the back porch. It was not a historic structure, is in conformance of the guidelines. Windows, retain and preserve historic windows, including all significant related elements such as frames, sashes, shutters, hardware, oil, old glass, sills, trim, and moldings. Again, your request to remove those two windows on the north side would not be in conformance. Maintain existing historic windows where possible, and repair existing historic windows where possible rather than replacing the entire window units. The two that you want to replace are in conformance to the back two that you want to replace and not remove. You would be in conformance. New construction. And this is for the porch, right, in the back?
a dormer.
The dormer? On the side. Okay. He didn't really talk much about that, or we didn't see any pictures. It was gonna be a duplicate of what is on the, south side of the house?
Correct.
Okay. So this is going to be, so where possible, locate new additions, on the rear so they have minimal, this would be on the side,
Third Street, yes.
Third Street. Not requirements. The overall proportions of the new addition should be compatible with the existing building height scale. I assume if you're doing it like the one on the south side, then you'd be in conformance with that item. 26.3, design elements of the new addition should be compatible with existing building in terms of material, style, color, roof forms. Again, you're planning to duplicate pretty much the dormer on the other half of the duplex. And additions should be constructed so they can be removed, the original building in the future without irreversible damage. I'm not sure you could remove a dormer without damage to the roof, but I think that it's,
I could fix that.
you could see that going in there. Rooftop additions to commercial buildings may be approved, and that doesn't apply to this situation. Is that, based on, the findings of fact and the guidelines that we have, I would have to say your request, other than the, demolition of the back porch, is not in conformance with our guidelines.
Jeff, do you agree or disagree?
I agree, except, I would say, if he puts on a dormer that matches the one on the other side, he should be able to do that, because at least for historic purposes, anybody going by would never notice it. You know, if a dormer was on the other side, put on, let's say in the 1950s, put one on his side, that seems reasonable. You know, as long as it's not bigger you know, grandiose, all, something that does not match what's on the other side. And that's, I mean, other than that, I'm in total agreement.
Carol Ann?
May I ask him a question first?
Yep.
It's something that didn't occur to me until we say, yes, you could put a dormer on. Would you re-roof the whole side?
Yes,
Okay, did you already think about what you want to put there?
asphalt shingles.
Well, you'd have to come back, I guess, and address
Well,
that
that's another
here,
one.
because there's lots of things you can do, but
Currently asphalt shingles.
it's what?
It's currently asphalt shingles, so we
Yeah.
wouldn't need a COA for that.
You'd be okay with that,
Oh, yeah,
placing light.
okay. But,
And the dormer would have
Wow.
no effect on the windows or the doors on that side, correct?
The one in the center may go up a little bit.
The bathroom window there.
And then that brings us around to the same thing I asked about the siding. Might be a good time to talk to your neighbor and to see if she wants, while you're there, get a roof on her half, so it all matches.
or the front. So, I agree along with what he says, with the exception of the dormer and the porch. I think those are totally fine to do. And I have one other question. In the south side of your building, do you know if she has a little door on the side?
She does, it
Yes.
has it,
She does. Okay.
because it has a little porch over it.
So the dormer and the porch, I would agree to, but the others, I agree with her. How do I say that?
You agree with Sandy and Jed?
With the exception of the dormer and the porch, yeah.
Okay. And I agree with Carol Ann.
Oh,
I also agree with Carol Ann.
I agree.
I agree with Sandy.
Okay. Now, if we take a vote, again, everybody's got a choice here. And you hear most of the things you've asked for really don't meet our guidelines. So you can either ask to table your application now, I assume, or we can vote. And if you're turned down, you've got to come back before us to do any work on the house. So,
Or I have to put another application in.
that's
within a
correct.
month.
Yeah, if you want to table it, you can come back with modifications to what you've asked for.
Prior to next meeting.
Yes.
You'd still have to come to the next meeting.
You still have to come to the next meeting and show us what you're going to do.
Talk to your neighbor.
So I talked to the neighbor, if she's good with what I wanna do.
You'll need to represent the things that we have told you do not meet our guidelines.
So the windows already know. Okay.
We haven't voted yet. If
So
we
I don't
vote,
know- I've never done this, so I don't know if you vote
Okay.
on the
Well, I
windows
think
and
it's,
then
we're
roof.
being funny, kind of, not clear to you, but right now, if we were to take a vote, we would say the only part of your application that's in conformance would be removing the back porch and adding a dormer. The windows and the door that you want to take off and the, new siding would not be approved,
and the chimney.
that's how I think, and when we say agree with Sandy or with Carol Ann, that summary is how we would all be voting on, one way or the other.
yeah, it would be the total application of what we would be voting on.
So, just be clear, like if that's the chimney, if I wanna remove the chimney completely, put some structure back up, put some better, bricks from the chimney, put those up on and make the chimney look the same, but not be functional, would that pass your guideline?
Yes.
Okay.
Would with me.
So if
Yeah,
we
yeah,
did that,
I think rather than going piece by piece, for us, your application is submitted with everything we've talked about. Now, if you want to table it and come back with modifications, you can do that. But right now, we've done our findings of fact, we've heard from the public, we've heard from you. Well, we asked for public comment, and you didn't ask a question.
Well, I didn't think about it. He doesn't know how to do this. There might be ways that he might get help to do this through the city, through applications and stuff, for help to what he wants to do to his house. Do you know that?
It hadn't been offered.
Huh?
It hadn't been offered. I didn't know.
They wouldn't offer it.
Well, that's what I'm saying, ma'am. I
He
appreciate,
doesn't know
well,
the procedures.
well, I appreciate your comment, I really do.
I'm trying to help him out.
Well, and we're trying to help him out with his application too. So what you can do is ask to have it tabled. Come back with some modifications, and like this lady said, there may be some opportunities for additional funding that you're not aware of to help you do some of this. But right now, we've got an application before us. We've done the findings of fact on your application. What we need to do is either vote on it or table it. You have your choice.
Either way, it's a month, right?
Yes.
But if we table it and we agree that the dormer and the back addition can be removed, I can go and start on that.
We
If
haven't
vote
agreed.
on it,
We haven't agreed on it. The application will be voted in total.
Though we say we're sympathetic to those two pieces.
Yeah. But the findings of fact covered your entire application. Either it all goes or none of it goes, based on our vote.
Your third option that Mike hasn't mentioned is you can modify it right now and ask for just the things that you want to approve tonight, and then put in a separate application for the other things. That is your, another option.
So that's kind of what I was kind of alluding to, like, the back addition, it sounded, you haven't approved it, but it was, everybody kind of agreed. The,
Dormer.
dormer, everybody agreed it is okay so far verbally.
and repair the chimney.
And repair the chimney, which is, you know, like, I can take it completely down, support it, and then put it back. That's okay. And then the other question I had was, irreversible damage, so on that door, on the doors or windows, if I don't get rid of the framing, can I encase those, cover them up, but it's not irreversible if I don't get rid of the framing?
You mean, in other words, you would basically remove the windows.
But not get rid of the framing,
From the street, it would look like there was no windows there.
correct?
I don't think the board would agree with that, basically. The windows, the appearance of the windows are part, again, I can't speak for the board, but the appearance of those windows on that side from the street are important.
You can wall them up, is that correct? From the inside, you can wall them up, not from the outside, but from the inside.
Yeah.
So you can put up a wall, like as far as build drywall over it or whatever the case may be, on the interior of the house,
Mike.
but you can't cover the outside of it.
Because that's all we only are talking about the outside of it.
So that goes for doors, windows, anything.
They don't have any jurisdiction on the interior.
Right.
So can we, do the third option, we say go ahead and dormer, agree on what we agree on, and then
Well,
table?
if I can throw in another sense, rather than putting up drywall on the inside and blocking the windows, your concern, as I read it, was you have a small child afraid he'd fall out the window, right?
I don't, but
Oh, you don't?
I
Oh,
don't have a small child.
So what's the concern then?
I don't know who, if I sell or rent later on down the road, it's a safety concern, so.
Oh, okay.
At this point, it looks like the window's gotta stay anyway, so.
Well, that's part of the design of the house then. You're talking, it's not a safety concern, it's a rental concern. If I'm not
Well,
getting into the
yeah.
weeds of the thing,
Well, we don't get into that.
yeah.
We're just concerned with the exterior of the home. So,
So the rest of your request is for them to vote on the addition of the dormer, the opening of the rear porch, and building a faux chimney on the rear. Is that correct?
Correct.
Can I make a motion to that? Or where are we?
we've had a findings of fact. If you want, that's your application. The rest of it's out, right?
For now.
So what are we voting on exactly?
Say that again, Nicole. What are we voting on?
Somebody will need to make a
We have to make
motion.
a motion.
But the addition of the dormer, opening of the rear porch, in building a faux chimney on the rear in placement of the current rear chimney.
So I could make a motion, and I'll word it that way, that I move that based on the findings of fact, the Madison Historic Board of Review will grant a certificate of appropriateness for the following change in this application. The, building of a dormer, removal of the back porch, and repair of the chimney.
A matching dormer.
I didn't hear what you said.
Or build a faux chimney.
I would probably recommend wording it to build a faux chimney, cause he wants to take it all the way
Okay,
down.
repair or build a faux chimney.
At 423 Mill Street.
At, I'm sorry, at 423 Mill Street for Russell Benkert.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Can we have a vote? Roll call vote, please.
Sandy Palmer,
Approve.
Michael Zink,
Approve.
Happy Smith,
Approve.
Ken McWilliams,
Approve.
Jed Skillman,
Approve.
Carol Ann Rogers,
Approve.
Mike Pittman.
Approve. You'll get your certificate appropriate in the mail. You'll, assume he's gonna need a building permit. You'll need a building permit, so you need to get all your other permits. Sorry, we went around the horn here several times, but you did very well, sir. Appreciate what you're coming in. And those other items, talk to Nicole, because she can help you with ways and things that can help with the guidelines
And
and,
it may not feel like this, but we really do appreciate you buying a home and trying to take care of it. We do value the historic nature of the town.
Great, thanks.
thank you, sir. Thank you, Russell. Next application is at 701, 703 West Street, Brian Marshall. And I'm not gonna read what he's gonna do, because Nicole's gonna do it. Excuse me? Oh, what's your name and address, Brian?
Brian Marshall, 201 Plum Street.
This application is for a, at 701, it's a non-contributing, 1880 vernacular, which is the, cited portion of the building, and then 703 is a circa 1870 contributing Italianate. The COA request is to replace siding on the 701 section with LP Smart siding, replace the existing, door on 703 with a fiberglass door, add a new entry on the rear at 703 on the second level, replace existing window on 701 West Street with a vinyl window, changing the size of one picture window, adding a dormer on 701, and adding a rear staircase to the second level on 703. He's also asking to replace the shingle roof with standing seam on 701. Couple of pictures of 701 showing the condition of the existing windows and the siding. There's a picture of the proposed siding. It's gonna be a vertical board and batten style. Couple of pictures of the existing of 703. Would just note that the windows were not removed by this owner, they were removed by a previous owner. And then a couple of drawings for you showing kind of what he wants the final look to be. So this is the facade facing West Street. This is the facade facing East or West 5th Street.
That's the south.
Yes, the south.
Excellent.
You're confusing everybody.
She's confused.
Section facing the rear section of the property facing west. I know my directions, thank you. I thought it was easier to tell you which way they were facing. Next time I'll do that, Ken, just for you. And this is the side facing the creek. And that is all I have for you.
Okay. I was like, wait a minute, no, that's not the word.
Facing West Street, the
Okay, West Street. Okay, West. I was like, no, it's not facing west, it's facing east.
Brian, I'm losing control.
See that?
Yeah. Brian, do you have anything to add, sir?
The only other thing I'm trying to buy this strip of land right here between my house and the creek.
To get your waterfront act,
Putting these steps over
to get a
here
dock location.
and down.
So you would move the steps that you got in the back now to the side?
They'd be less noticeable from Fifth Street, yeah.
But the door would stay where it was, you would just be coming out.
No, that would be the door on the corner there,
You'd wanna change that window to the door.
yes.
I've got a question about that structure there. Is that the main entrance in and out of the house for the second floor apartment? It's an exterior stairway?
Yes.
Okay. When I walked by from the front of the building, there's a center door, and then there's a door to the left, and looking through the window, there's a stairway that goes up. Not in good shape, but there is a stairway.
Yes.
What would you do with that?
Get rid of it.
Interior.
Why would you get rid of it when you already have a door there and a stairway there?
It's just too narrow, it's not in real good shape, and it just totally opens up both floors to where you can comfortably get 2-bedroom units in them. Whereas if that stairway was in there, it's too tight.
And Jed, we don't really worry about the interior.
Yeah.
It's more the exterior, and I think if the stairway's narrow, that may be a code hazard, I'm not sure, but it could be a code hazard, so.
Brian, anytime anyone improves a non-contributing house, God bless you. So I know, everything you do there, just have at it. But 703, your brick structure. So the person had it before, has done great redos in this town. Do you have access to the windows? The windows have been removed.
No.
So the windows weren't in this application.
Oh, I thought they were.
I've got windows.
They would be
That's
staff
just a-
reviewed.
Pardon me?
Replace the existing
Oh,
windows.
he wants to do aluminum clad on the brick structure, which would be staff reviewed,
Yes.
which was why they're not on your
I said, 'cause
application.
there wasn't any
Well,
seven
it
oh
was
three.
staff review, so that's why I asked.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, then, no, I'm done.
And Ken, I think those windows have been gone for a long time. If
The
I-
guys that worked on it before Brian.
They might have, but they've been out of there a long
Yeah,
time.
I agree.
Brian, thank you very much for taking on that project. That house has been empty way, way too long.
Yeah.
You take some pretty impossible looking places and make them look good. Is there a chimney on 703?
I don't think so.
There's no fireplace in there?
No.
I couldn't see one, but I just wondered if there was, and you hadn't approached that problem, but. Are you gonna make it 2 apartments,
Yes,
or 3?
3
Three.
altogether, yes.
All right.
Could you see the picture on the 701, the picture window where he's changing the side? Can you go back to that?
I have since found out that I can pretty reasonably get a replacement for that. I just thought it was so big that it would be pretty costly, but I can leave it the same size if it's an issue.
So it's there, just to show you, it's on the very edge, that window that's showing on the, right
Oh,
picture.
yeah, right there, yeah.
Yeah, and then,
I just thought he had renderings, yeah, of what he was gonna do, and I wasn't sure if those were 3 windows or it's panel underneath and 1 window.
Yeah, I'm not doing those panels underneath of there either. I was just thinking I could downsize that big picture window a little bit.
Which
And that's the
is not a
non-contributing
historic
side,
structure,
right?
it's,
Okay.
Can I ask you about the roof? It says in your application you're doing a standing seam roof
Yes.
on 701. That's a wonderful and magnificent roof. Thank you.
Yeah, it should look a lot different, yes.
And then you're talking about taking that staircase that's on the back, if you get that side property, and moving it around to the other side.
I think it would look better, yes.
I do too. But it looks a lot better than it does now anyway with that, even that
Okay.
So if that's acceptable to the board, my recommendation is to give him the option either or in the COA
In
approval.
the motion? Okay. Okay, anything else, Brian?
I don't think so.
Any more questions from the board?
No.
Replacing the front door with fiberglass, is that Cricket?
Any comments or questions from the audience? Okay, Carol Ann, do you want to take us through this one?
If I can read it, I will. I'm not very good at distances, I'm sorry.
Summarize.
But also in your staff, packet, everything on the screen for finding the text in your staff packet.
As a matter of fact. Thank you. Standards divided by this is 44, 46.
While she's
Okay.
getting there, can you go back to the picture on the front again? Were those curved windows on the front? What's happening with those? They're gonna be windows now, but
Curved?
On which building?
I'm just saying, yeah, I was gonna say, weren't they curved?
Yeah,
so-
Italian, eh?
Yeah, that will, yeah, I don't know if his program just wouldn't let him do that, but I would definitely keep that, yes. You're talking about on the lower,
On the lower ones, the three,
Yeah.
arched, openings.
yeah, I'll just scrape that real good and paint it or wrap it in aluminum, but that'll definitely stay.
Okay. Yeah, it's, all of a sudden that picture looked pretty square.
So, that, as we look at the front elevation of the building, you see the center door. To the right is a window, to the left is a door, right? So what are you gonna do with the door if that's no longer, an entrance?
It'll be a window like the right side.
Right there.
Again, that's what, okay.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, this is 3.8, yes. Vinyl aluminum siding, it's not appropriate here. Fiber cement siding, you're not replacing any of the siding, right? It's all brick
Correct.
and, okay,
701 is,
well, 701,
Yeah, we don't even have to talk about it.
but it's non-contributing, right?
Yeah, it's not contributing, but you.
Okay,
but you-
so, 9.1, you are gonna preserve the original doors and entrances with the exception of the door to the, on the east side to the left of the main entrance to the 703. Right?
So which building are we talking about,
703, yeah, you're gonna,
None of that in the front is savable as far as those two doors. They're terrible. They're only 30 inches wide.
30 inches? Whoa, that's little. Okay. Maintain and preserve original doors and entrances, and I understand you're trying to do that,
Yes.
with the exception of that one door, which is no longer going to be an entrance door. You don't need two entrance doors for the downstairs. If the historic doors are missing, no, they're not. Never create a new door opening when none existed. That doesn't really apply here, except upstairs, which in order to make that accessible, you need that door off your steps going up. Now where am I? Next, is there next? Okay, 15.1, preserve the original, no, this doesn't form, except you're gonna add that dormer, which is on a non-contributing structure anyway, so that doesn't apply. Preserve, maintain historic roofing details, and you want to put, what's the name of, it? The side,
Standing seam.
the roof, standing seam, thank you, duh. Standing seam there, which is, good. Contemporary or non-historic may be installed, no, that's not going to be applicable. avoid altering the existing roof pitch, but that's okay that you're putting in the dormer because it's, again, non-contributing. 18.1. There we go. Preserve the historic windows as much as you can, but they are no longer there, so you're going to replace them, which is the only thing you can do. Maintain existing historic windows where possible, and you are. Replace existing historic windows where possible. Or repair, I'm sorry, and then replace in kind using replacement windows that match the existing historic elements as closely as possible. New windows must match the originals, and I assume that you're gonna have all of them pretty much matching, are you not?
Yeah, the only one that's still there on 703 is a 2/2, and that's.
Okay. New window openings should not alter the historic character. No, that doesn't apply. 26. 26.1. Where possible, locate new additions at the rear, so your steps would be fine there, but if you want to change that, you said that he could,
Do it either or.
yeah, okay. The proportions of the new addition should be compatible with the existing building, and it is as much as you can do to go to the second floor. The design elements of the new addition should be compatible with the existing building, and they will be. Additions should be constructed so they can be removed from the original building. That doesn't apply. Rooftop additions for commercial buildings. It's not a commercial building, but again, that kind of includes that change to the roof that you want to make. 28.1. Locate fire exits, stairs, landings, and ramps so they're compatible with the character of the building. That only applies on the back there. Introduce new or alternate means of access to the historic building in ways that they don't compromise the appearance of an historic entrance or front porch. Okay. Based on the findings of fact, I got a thing right here. What to do? Based on the findings of fact, I move that the,
No.
no. That's not the one I wanna use.
Do you agree with, he's meeting the guidelines or not agree?
Oh, I agree that he has met the guidelines as closely as we can get them.
Okay, Ken's got a question.
Nicole, could you go to his rendering of what the 703 front windows would look like? If you could find that picture. Good. So, Brian, when Sandy at then asked you a moment ago what the windows on the front would look like, and she talked about the Italianate top that's on those windows, this artist rendering doesn't have any of that. So, what's your plan for windows?
Yeah, I'm just not sure his computer program would allow that curve there, but I definitely plan on keeping that curve in the brick and just painting that or wrapping it in aluminum, but
No,
the two windows on the side would be replaced with some panels down below there.
yeah, so you're going to keep the original openings
Yeah.
and that's fine, that's good. All right.
While
Can I
we're-
ask another question?
Yeah, I was gonna ask a question too. Yeah.
Oh, ladies first.
Oh, okay. I kind of missed this little detail here. You are changing the window opening that's on the door opening that's on the left. You're gonna change that now to a window.
Correct.
So you're gonna try and make that new window match in its dimensions, the other window over on the right-hand side.
Definitely.
I don't, I think this does not meet guidelines, right? Because we are changing we're changing an opening from a door opening to a window opening. And, people have done this around town, and it's just, it's a kind of major permanent change to the building. So I just thought I'd raise
But I
that.
think if you go back to that original, I'm not sure it was originally a door.
I agree.
It was, I think there were two windows, door was in the middle. I'm not sure that's, you can tell that, but
Oh, I see what you're
That's-
saying.
very
You're saying
good,
they added
very
the
that's
door
what I'm
later.
thinking.
Okay, excellent, okay, great, glad to hear it.
Are we okay now?
Yep, I'm okay, thank you.
Well, happy? Do you agree or disagree with the?
Having had the clarification and the correction, I now agree with Carol's finding of fact.
Good. Michael?
I agree for the exact same reasons.
Ken?
I agree, same reasons.
Jen?
I'll go along with everybody else just because I'm new here, but I don't.
Well, if you don't, that's okay. So you can say.
But let me get back, can I get back to the fire escape in the back? Can you put that picture back up of the fire escape in the
There.
back, or the main stairway? That's a long, straight run. And I don't know that, where we used to live, you couldn't do that. You had to put a landing that goes in the other direction. Can you do that here?
Yeah, I don't like it either. That's why I would like to go to the side of the house. He was just trying to keep that bottom window open there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
But,
think-
well, it's already, now you got the stairway going down in front of somebody else's doorway or
Right.
window. And in and out traffic to the upstairs apartment, going through their back door, basically. But if you just, right where it's at the window, widen that out so it's a nice little landing, you make a 180-degree turn, go down, and there you are by your own back door. It's a thought, but I don't know what building code is in here. You know, some places in the world, you can't have a straight, stairway like that, that's all.
I would definitely consider that. And
Yeah.
It's on my mind for sure. I don't like the way it's extended on out there.
All right. Do you agree or disagree now, Jed?
About what?
You agree or disagree?
That it meets the guidelines? What do you
It doesn't meet the guideline if you.
think? Staircase.
The staircase, does it meet the guideline? I don't think so. That's why I said, have it double back.
But I mean, the application in total though. I mean, that's one element of his application.
The application in total what? No.
Does he meet the guidelines or not meet the guidelines? There's several guidelines. There's windows, doors,
Yeah.
roofs. That's the staircase. He's already said he's gonna modify it
Okay,
by doing it on the side if he can. If he can't do it on the side, then he can.
doing a double back, then I'm fine.
If I'm able to get this strip of property here, that would also depend on what I
Yep.
do with it.
That makes it easy.
There's 4 owners to that, 4 sisters, and 2 of them have signed the purchase agreement. I'm still waiting on the other 2, but it looks like it's gonna get done.
Okay.
Sandy, do you agree or disagree?
I agree with the following reasons.
Okay. So we'll need a motion, and remembering whoever makes the motion, it's gotta have an either or staircase, correct?
Either or, I make a motion.
No.
Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that the Madison Historic District Board of Review grant a certificate of appropriateness to Brian Marshall at 701-703 West Street for an application to replace the siding at 701 West with LP Smart siding, replace the existing door on 703 West with a fiberglass door, add a new entrance on the rear of 703 West on the second floor, and having an exit either or on the north side or west side. And replace existing windows on 701 West with vinyl windows, changing the size of one picture window, although I think he said he found an option to that. And add a dormer on 701 West, and replacing the shingle roof on 701 with standing seam.
I second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Mike Pittman,
Approve.
Happy Smith,
Approve?
Carolyn Rogers,
Approve?
Jed Skillman,
Approved.
Ken McWilliams.
Approve.
Sandy Palmer,
Approved.
Michael Zing.
Approved.
Thank you, Brian. I think you've done this before, but you'll get your C of A in the mail. Make sure you get all your permits. Sounds like you've got to check on some stair codes, but, thank you for coming before us and good luck with your project.
Thank you.
Okay, Matthew Chandler, location 301 Jefferson.
We can approve something that's out of code.
No, he has to get the code from someone
Hello.
else.
Hi, Matthew.
Hi. I've got Brian here with me too, Brian Martin, just in case he needs to
Okay,
jump in and answer any
okay.
questions.
And what's your, give us your name and address.
I'm Matt Chandler, 111 East Second Street, Madison, Indiana.
Okay, Nicole?
This property is a circa 1850 federal and a 1940 commercial contributing building. The COA request is to replace garage doors with half glass garage doors on the south side, replace the dilapidated doors on the south side, remove 2 windows and replace them with entry doors on the south side, add 1 entry door on the south side, and then add railing along the rooftop line. I've got several photos provided by the applicant. This is the first one. You'll see the current on the left and then the proposed new doorway on the right.
Is this Jefferson Street, right?
This is this is on Jefferson, but this is facing Mulberry.
Oh, okay,
Or not Mulberry, Second Street,
Second
yes.
okay.
Yeah, they're all facing, all the modifications are facing Second Street. The current warehouse portion of the building and the proposed with the 2 new doorways, the replaced garage door, and then the railing.
Oh,
I know we don't typically review interior, but I wanted to provide a couple of the floor plans he provided just so you can see how they impact the changes. So here is the first floor with the new openings.
Sorry, we,
Go back, please.
go back to, just tell me, what's, the bottom line is are we looking at Second Street?
Correct.
This, because these
Yes.
weren't visible in my packet. I mean,
Yeah,
I couldn't
sorry about, I
read them
didn't
on my
notice that till
packet.
I started to put them in the
Okay.
packet.
Just-
Yes, this
all
is
right.
facing, so
Second
the doors that you see,
Facing second.
yeah.
Okay,
So this is the new door, and then this is a new door, and this is a new door.
Okay.
That one's existing, Nicole, the middle
Sorry,
one.
yeah.
Sorry,
that first one was the door before, right?
No.
I mean, not now, but I mean, you can see where the brick
There was
has
an
been-
opening there. at
There
one
was an
point.
opening.
Which is the one you're gonna take the door and, take the wooden door out?
Yeah, so just to describe, so there's 2 stories of duck pen bowling. You've got 4 lanes that are about 30 feet long on the first floor when you walk in there, and then it mirrors the second floor as well. So obviously, if you were to utilize that door or walk through it, you would be on the actual duck pen bowling lane. And then this new opening on my far left here would be an egress for the apartment owner. We spoke with fire marshal, and we'd have to have a separate egress for that because the apartment owner's gonna be going through the bar and, you know,
Oh, yeah,
all the
okay, sure.
ATC pieces that we have to have, so we had to have that private entrance. And then what you see over here on the other entry is actually an elevator, access to an elevator, which the new entry would be on my far right, the red circle,
Okay,
And feel free to
Yeah,
go
point
to
to
the.
this
Yeah,
whenever you can.
point it out on the
Sorry,
screen.
this helps us a little.
Over here.
Okay.
So, and that would go to the elevator, which was, am I talking, okay, where's the elevator? Okay, so you talk about this too.
Can I jump in quick?
Go ahead, Brian.
Sorry. Brian Martin, 104 Shearing Street. So, real quick, just, sorry, I didn't mean to butt into that, but just
All good.
just for clarity's sake, so, can you go back to the elevation? Okay, so, you know, industrial window, door, window. So go back to the plan now.
Up to the right,
to the right, proposed.
to your
I'm
right.
saying go back.
He wants Oh, that.
Okay. This is a window that needs to be converted to a door, because again, what Matt was talking about.
Oh.
Ingress, egress, as well as actually, access for equipment.
Gotcha.
The middle one is the set of doors, it's technically sliding doors, wood doors, they're kind of almost falling apart. That's where it would be going back to more of a overhead style door look. Again, solid below and the glass above is again the bowling lanes. And then skipping and going to the other, this is the
And so on the one to the right with the red, you go in there and it looks like you enter underneath the landing, right? Is that correct? Okay.
Go underneath the staircase, yeah. So, I mean, I don't know how much you wanna dig into the details, but, I mean, so this building is very unique, not the building itself, I guess, but the use. So there's three uses going on. And in order to comply with all of our requirements, one being this bowling setup, and then two being all of our code-driven access issues and such, we basically have to stack all this stuff through. So, not that it means anything, but initially, this staircase, we wanted to have it all on this side of the wall, just for convenience, but just dimension-wise, it just doesn't work. So everything is pushed, it's kind of driven by the access, to get into the spaces and everything that we need, one for general use and two code. So, but the elevator door is actually right here. Yeah, there you go, yeah.
That's why I'm
So-
confused, cause it's been
Yeah.
changed like 5 times.
So the staircase that we were looking at would wrap around here, so that last window to be converted to a doorway was happening here. So then we come over to here, this is the door to the elevator. Again, we're pushed because of the staircase is, a certain dimension and, requirement, again, code driven. The elevator, we only have so many options on how we can do that. We can flip flop this doorway one or the other, but it's kind of shifted this way to get away from the existing window that's there now. So, again, everything's kind of packed in as tight as possible, but, it's the best that we can do to work with, what we have there.
And the elevator is, if you stand on Jefferson Street and you look at the front of the building now with the glass and all that, that elevator sits back about 40 feet from the front of the building then, right? So you have that front room, and then you go back,
Well, I mean, generally, yeah.
I mean, I'm not holding you to 40 feet, but it's back 50 feet,
Yes.
35 feet, something like
Well, if you want, go back to the, photo elevation list. So, yeah,
Yep.
I mean, so technically, when you look at this, that glass returns as far
Yep.
as the storefront, and this is the bulk of the wine bar space, the elevator is pushed back as far as. we can.
Gotcha, okay.
And that elevator is twofold, it's access for the, apartment as well as access to basically provide ADA accessibility for, all three levels. Technically, I say three levels because one is the apartment is 3 levels, and then, the bowling also has a deck space at the rooftop, so that's our 3rd level as well.
Does your elevator work?
It will be a brand new elevator.
Oh, a brand new elevator.
Madison will build
I hope it works.
non-compliant.
Do you,
For the price of it.
Brian, your description of the replacement for the garage door on Second Street sounded like just the everyday Lowe's garage door, aluminum garage door with the window lights.
Well, so the window placement, I mean, it's gonna be, it would to a degree, but it's gonna be a little bit tricky to get the right style door from manufacturer that would get as much glass and less frame as possible to be as consistent with those industrial windows as possible. The idea behind the lower 2 solid panels, again, that's the bowling lane on the other side.
Right.
So there's a possibility that the upper portion of that door, the glass portion only, might actually be able to be lifted up during, the nice weather.
Well, we've been working with the city too, as they're getting ready to do the sidewalks here, and we're trying to build like a ledge or a bar, propose that people who are in the Dora district, they could like sit there and watch people bowl, or if you're going to come out the wine bar, there would be like a patio seating area there too.
Matthew, are you gonna do anything with the Jefferson Street entrance at the moment?
I'm gonna just restore it, I mean, yeah, just fix it.
Because that door is in terrible
Yeah.
shape, and you didn't ask for it here.
We'll
You gonna come
try to
back on that?
basically build it, build it back, restore it the best we can, yeah. No particular need to change it because
It's got
there's enough
character.
there we can work with.
Sure. Okay.
So we've got a guideline that says you can't cut out windows and doors wherever you want. But you've got two here that seem are code driven, and we don't have an option to vote down if fire marshal or ADA. I mean, they trump everything.
I would agree.
No, I was not going to support this, and I don't have an option.
I have a question about, so on the pink building, the Jefferson Street building, is there also a door being added there? I was trying to look at your documents. So there. So, on the right-hand side proposed, there's a white door drawn in the middle there. So that's where a new door is you're gonna cut a hole in that brick and put a new door there? And there
Yeah,
was no previous opening there, nothing, no ghosts of anything?
There was.
Yeah, there were two openings in that wall, that were bricked up.
Are you gonna put your new door where those openings were?
Not exactly, simply because there's just, we just can't because of the spacing.
So, Mike, as a matter of procedure, basing off what Ken just said, so your windows to doors does not meet guidelines, but there can be exceptions, right, for extenuating circumstances, safety, or, this is a kind of modernish building, this one here, 1949, that's a youngster in Madison's terms.
Yep.
So maybe we can say there can be exceptions, perhaps for a somewhat newer building.
Well, I think with taking a building that was basically pretty much vacant and you getting a good reuse within the city and basically something that is a nice, would you call it an attraction?
Yeah.
I'd call it an
Amusement
attraction.
attraction,
That it is a reuse that doesn't conform back to when the building was built, but also will conform to what the guidelines are today, not only for our board, but also for the public safety. I think that's something you have to consider also.
And there were no options there's only a little alley between the buildings, so there's no options for other egress or other openings in the back.
Like some of the buildings downtown, the south facade and the west facade are literally on the property line.
Matt and Brian, the railing on Second Street, so you're gonna have me up there at night where you shouldn't let me up there. So what's gonna keep me from, falling down and annoying all the people watching your bowling?
Yeah.
So how big is the rail? What's it gonna look like? What's it made of? And just the Second Street, we don't need to see the rest.
Right.
Yeah, can you go back to the elevation?
Oh, I see.
So it's not necessarily required over the whole distance, but I mean, for consistency's sake, I think it makes sense. And the idea was just to keep it as streamlined and clean as possible. And I think you would like to consider possibly like a glass panel. So steel frame, glass panel, keep it as unobtrusive as possible. But again, given the nature of the architecture of this building, steel and glass with industrial looking windows, it's pretty consistent with.
Brian, the 36 inches we always talk about are taller.
It'd be 42 at least,
That's
probably
Okay,
48.
taller is good.
Yeah, 48
Taller is
would
better.
be, I think I've got drawings
You won't fall.
for a little additional.
With
I
the
appreciate taller.
the new
Be a
one
running
here,
start.
that's a great reuse of a not, kind of a nondescript, what do you call it? Unused rust belt industrial, great, go for it. It just, the original part of the building, you would endeavor to keep that as original as you can, minus putting one doorway in, right?
Correct.
I'm just still concerned over the replacement garage door. I just don't want it to look like a Miles Ridge garage door.
Oh.
Well, like I said, the idea would be we wouldn't just get one from those, we'd
This would be a custom piece, yeah.
custom door that's, I think you,
We've watched you guys. No, we've watched you guys. We know where you live.
you wouldn't wanna
so-
liken them to, is it like, First Watch, a lot of restaurants have been doing it for years now, they're not gonna put just a standard garage door in, they put overhead doors with lots of glass that they open during business hours, but the idea behind it is that, call it the structure is
So,
as
Brian,
small as
will it be be one of the roll-ups where you see at beverage places all over America, where the door rolls up. And
Probably be more on a rail just because of the glass in
so
there.
will it rail up on the interior? or
Yeah, on the
rail up?
interior.
Okay, that's what I want. So,
But again, it carries the same theme, not that it matters, to this board, but, the same theme on the inside, there's, exposed joists, exposed, brick, tall ceilings, the louder sprinkler system, and, ductwork, that all kind of lends itself to this, a little more industrial theme as far as a commercial project goes.
Okay.
Well,
Any
I
more-
tend to agree that because it is, was always an industrial building, that adding, anything to preserve that, and I know you all took an industrial building and made it a beautiful place, but I'd have no problem at all putting a door on either side, because you're making use of a building that has been sitting there for years. It had somebody living upstairs, I think, for a little while. But I just think it's a great exception to make for downtown. And being an industrial building built later anyway, makes sense to me.
Thank you, Caroline. Anything else from the board? Any comments or questions from the public? So everybody knows what that bowling is, what's it called again?
Duck pin bowling.
Duck pin bowling.
And wine.
We're gonna do findings of fact.
You want me, think we should, yes. Ken, would you do findings of fact for me?
can.
Thank you, sir.
So the historic district guidelines, as we've just discussed in the last 15, 20 minutes, none of them pertained to how Matt's gonna fix this building. Especially 9.6, never create a new door opening where none existed on a readily visible facade. So we can just say that everyone on Second Street at 2 in the morning can't see anything. And that, but so we've heard that fire marshal and ADA are really driving these changes, and they trump any guidelines. And then windows, so retain and preserve historic windows. And so we have to sacrifice these windows for code. So based upon that, then rooftop additions, so it doesn't address railings ever, but under certain conditions, we approve railings. So, and based on that, they're more than 36 inches. I believe that this entire project meets our guidelines.
Michael, do you agree?
Well, I mean, I agree with what Ken has said for the exact same reasons. It doesn't actually go in alignment with our guidelines, but as we bring specifically structures into our current time, we have to agree to modifications to them in order to make them safe for folks.
Abby?
I agree quite well with what Michael said. It does not meet the Historic Border Review guidelines, but because of code reasons, because of economic vitality, because of the worthiness of the project, this is a good time for an exception to the guidelines. But I think it's good to keep clear that we're not meeting our guidelines, but this is a good reason for an exception.
Sandy?
I agree for the same reasons as stated.
Jed?
Same reasons.
Caroline?
I agree for the same reasons.
And I also agree for the same reasons, and we thank you for what you guys are doing.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right. Do we have a motion?
Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that the Madison Historic District Board of Review grant a certificate of appropriateness to Matthew Chandler, I don't know what his address is on Second Street. 301, Jefferson Street? Oh, I thought it was supposed to be where he actually lives. For 301 Jefferson Street, based on what he has proposed this evening, with the modifications to the doors and entrances on Second Street, and the modifications to the existing windows, as well as the construction of the railing on the rooftop deck.
I second.
And we have Sandy? Roll call vote?
Michael Zink,
Approve.
Sandy Palmer,
Approve.
Jed Skillman,
Approve.
Ken McWilliams.
Approve.
Happy Smith,
Approve.
Mike Pittman,
Approve.
Carol Ann Rogers.
Approve.
Matt, as you know, you'll get your certificate of appropriateness in the mail. Make sure you get all your permits, will you, please?
Oh, you know.
All those, will you? And, keep him in line.
I will.
All right. Hey, we appreciate what you're doing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and
guys.
keep the
Thank you.
glass away from the duck pin
Yeah.
ball,
Yeah.
because I'm thinking I'm not.
It'll be tempered.
Okay, our next application is for Ryan Leach on behalf of Peter Ashley,
Good evening.
509 West Third.
Good evening.
Welcome. Well,
Peter
ha-
Ashley, 509 West Third Street.
Okay.
Uh,
Nicole?
I have to say, my thing sounds pretty lame after these ones we've just done, but go ahead, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Nicole.
This is a non-contributing 1985 vernacular structure. The applicant is requesting to remove a 5-foot by 4-foot shed and build a similar shed that's a little bit bigger of 5'8". This is the shed in question, and it's just going to be a similar design, just a little bit larger.
Pretty straightforward. Basically, the shed now has got some rot and needs a lot of repair, and it's a very awkward shape and very unuseful in terms of storing anything. So we just wanted to take it down and put up one that's more usable, basically.
I had to drive. It's gonna be in the same spot, it's just twice as big.
It's the same spot, it's just gonna come out
Toward the street.
three or 4 feet more toward the street from this angle. Yeah, it can't really go any wider because it's up against my house
Right,
pretty much. So, yeah, it would just come out a little bit further. Similar material, painted, shingle roof. Yeah. I wish I could be doing a bowling alley, but maybe next time I'll beef it up. But
You know, you might be able to get one in.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
duck pin, I've never heard that.
I don't,
Any other questions?
the only question I had, was looking at it from down the alley, on the right side, you go down and look back that way, oops.
Yeah.
It,
You mean
I
from
d-
sorry,
no.
this alley?
yep,
Yeah.
and then you stand down there and, look between.
Between the houses, yeah.
Yep, between the houses. Right now, it sits into that, setback. I assume that's a setback, right?
I didn't put it up, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was gonna start where it is now and just come out a little bit further.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's in, there's the distance between the houses looks like it's about 3 feet, just as a guess.
Yeah, it's very tight back there. yeah.
Very, and you can't get, you could, just, you know, you can squeeze through if you had to do it, but any reason you can't move it this way and give yourself a little more wiggle room in case of fireman or emergency, somebody has to go down that way?
Well, there's a gate, a locked gate on that side as well, and then the other side of it is the neighbor, well, it's my fence too, but the fence right there. And then immediately behind that is their
That's the only
garage.
thing I thought of.
Yeah, so
Other
it's
than
so
that-
tight back there anyway that
Yeah.
we don't even go back there,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah. And I don't wanna come too far out, cause then it'll be, more pronounced, but, yeah.
Any other questions? Nope. Any comments from the public? Hearing none? Happy, would you like to,
That's good.
did I skip you, Michael?
Yeah, you did.
Go ahead, Michael, I don't want
okay.
to steal your thunder there. Go ahead.
No worries at all. So going through these guidelines, findings of fact, 32-1, choose to demolish only as a last resort. Well, it needs to be demolished because it's rotting. 32-4, minimize ground disturbing activities during demolition to avoid damage to potential unknown archaeological resources. We're just basically taking this and moving it forward is what you're planning to do. And retaining mature trees on site, you're basically not really going to be changing any of that, and you're actually taking up more space, so you're gonna take care of the ground.
Correct.
All right.
I don't have any trees in my yard, actually, at all.
Yeah.
You don't have any room for your trees.
I know.
No raking.
24-1, the design of the new garage or accessory building should be compatible with the dwelling, and it's compatible with what was there, but larger in size is what I'm hearing. Site of the new garage or accessory building is appropriately on the lot, which it is staying where it is. Outbuilding should maintain a proportional mass, size, and height to ensure that it's not taller or wider than the principal building on the lot, which it is. Materials used for the new garages and outbuildings should reflect the historical development of the property. It is replacing the wood structure that is currently there. Generally, the eaves and the roof ridge of any new outbuilding should not be higher than those of the existing primary building. It is not. And I think that handles everything else that we've got, because the other two don't really apply. So based on the findings and facts, I agree with the modification of your shed size.
Happy, do you agree?
I agree, for the same reasons.
Ken, do you agree?
I agree, same reasons.
Caroline, do you agree?
I agree.
Jen?
Absolutely.
Sandy?
Agree for the same reasons.
And I also agree for the same reasons. Do we have a motion?
Not all at once.
Oh, here, I got you. Just give me, I gotta flip back now. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that the Madison Historic District Board of Review grant a certificate of appropriateness to Ryan Leach at 509 West Third Street.
And we have a second?
I'll second.
Caroline seconded?
I
Roll call
have
vote?
to, I have to do the proposed, on the proposed shed of 5 feet by 8 feet in the location, in the location of the previous shed moving forward 3 feet. Sorry now, good.
Good.
We're good now.
Mike Pittman,
Approve.
Ken McWilliams,
Approve.
Jed Skillman,
Approve.
Sandy Palmer,
Approve.
Michael Zink,
Approve.
Carolyn Rogers.
Approve.
Happy Smith.
Approve.
You heard my speech before, but you
Yes,
hear it
I'll
again.
hear it again.
You'll get your certificate of appropriateness in the mail, but make sure you're getting permits that you would need in the
Absolutely.
meantime.
All right.
I'm not sure what you'll need, but you might need something.
I'm sure I'll need something, I'll get it, whatever I need. Thank you for all you do to keep Madison beautiful. Have a
Thank
good
you
night.
all.
right.
Appreciate it.
Oh, withdrawn.
Don't see a Josh Sebastian out there. Oh, well, come on. Well, come on up.
While
Which one
she's
is this?
coming to the podium, I just wanted to note for the official record, 604 Mulberry Street was taken off tonight's agenda by staff because of the entire application being able to be reviewed by staff.
Thank you, staff. We appreciate it. And you are? Give your name and address, please.
Cindy Huntington, Josh Sebastian's mother.
Okay.
I help him run his rentals. He owns 5 houses in the county. This one he's trying to work with it. I live at 3705 West State Road 256.
Okay.
This application is on a circa 1840 contributing federal to demolish the non-historic rear addition. Couple of photos showing the cited rear addition that is requested to be demolished. It is visible from an alley.
You have anything else to add?
No. I asked him if everything was in his application, because I haven't looked at it. But I know that this is what he wanted to do. I think he wants to keep the rest of the house as historical as he possibly can. We're not even near that yet. We're not,
Any idea when the rear was built?
no
Knows
clue,
that at all?
no.
And he's not planning to, he's just planning to remove that structure, not anything else is gonna go in the back of that house.
Not that I'm aware.
Okay.
Can you zoom in on the picture of the left, please? Okay,
There's a porch.
Yeah. Yeah, I see the porch, but I was looking at the 2/2 windows, and I was like, is that brick? And I just wanted to make sure that was part of
It
the
is.
original the structure,
Can
so
I
yeah.
approach that?
Sure, you sure can, yeah.
Yeah, use a chair.
Here, and then when you go around this corner, there's an old door there.
Okay.
And then it's brick right to that siding, and then there's also a porch up above here, and it's in bad shape. It's, it's rotted. So he's wanting to get rid of that and that porch, and then, well, the other picture, the little building on, yeah, that.
So it's the entire rear addition you're talking about, from the brick on back,
Just that old part.
the brick on
He's
back.
he's only going, now, if you go by there now, part of that is missing. And you can see the original back of the house.
Okay.
And that's what he wants to keep. There's an entryway door. If you go through that, there's an entryway door. I don't know how he's gonna do it though, because he's probably got this all figured out. But this is all open now. He had one of those, a new one of those put in, and the panel is right inside there. And I think there was a washer and dryer in there too. So, I don't, he'll work something out. But the paneling for the electric is inside there along that back wall, but it's on the original wall of the building.
And brick, the original brick wall?
So basically, you're asking to demolish everything up to the brick.
Yeah. It's just in very bad shape and
But you're not in this situation asking to demolish the porch, just the shed? Is that correct?
that's not a shed.
The addition, sorry, the addition,
Yeah.
but not the
Yeah, he wants
porch.
to take the porch out too.
Is that part of this application?
All the addition, the sided addition up
Okay.
to the brick.
Okay.
Okay, and the porch is on that addition. Okay, it's hard to tell from the pictures.
It is, because all of this stuff is the neighbors. They were using that for storage.
Oh,
And, he didn't really care for a long time. I mean, he wasn't down there working and stuff, but, and this lady uses this ramp. We're very respectful of her. She has an ADA ramp right there and a little scooter and stuff, and we're very respectful of her. But they were storing all their stuff under there. And I finally told him, you can't do that because eventually he's gonna be working on the house. And so, that's why it looks so cluttered right now.
gotcha.
Do we know, so I know that you're saying that you don't, do we know anything about the addition? Okay, just curious. I
But
mean, 'cause
just-
it looks pretty.
I wanted to go down to the courthouse and do a little research on the house. I work still, I work part-time and all of that, so doing this and some other stuff, we own 2 properties and so I'm busy. But I'm gonna get down there and check it out. I'm really interested, cause that is gonna be a beautiful place when he gets done with it.
It is. I mean, I agree with you that it will be.
It's just gonna take some
Yeah.
time. The floors were all rotten because flooding, it flooded
Sure.
in that house. And there's no flooring in the bottom right now. So, and people were getting in there. And so my boyfriend and I went down and did we did some things so people couldn't get in the house.
Well, thank you for doing that.
'Cause they were gonna hurt themselves.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, wanna do?
Any further questions? Any comments from the, look at the audience.
There is
At the
an
audience.
Yeah,
There's a lady back there.
It's time.
Next
Yeah.
contestant over there.
No comments from the
No
audience.
comments, all right. Happy, will you do the findings of fact?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so the request here is to demolish, to have a C of A to demolish the non-historic rear addition. So the relevant, HDBR guidelines, are, choose demolition only as a last resort. It sounds like they are indeed, it needs to be demolished. They have attempted to document the historic resource. Further efforts there, of course, would always be good. They're gonna minimize ground disturbing activities. If there were mature trees, they would do that. So, I think the finding of fact here is that this application meets the HDBR guidelines with regard to demolishing a non-historic rear addition.
Thank you. Michael, you agree?
I agree for the exact same reasons.
Ken?
Agree, same reasons?
Carol Ann?
I agree for the same reason.
Jed?
Worthy project.
Sandy?
I agree for the same reasons.
And I also agree for the same reasons. Your son owes you a big one for doing this tonight, by the way, sitting all the way through. Okay, good.
Based upon the preceding findings of fact, I move the Madison District Board of Review grant the certificate of appropriateness to Josh Sebastian for 926 Walnut Street to demo the non-historic rear addition.
Do we have a second?
I second that motion.
Michael seconds.
Ken McWilliams,
Approve?
Sandy Palmer,
Approve.
Michael Zink,
Approve.
Happy Smith,
Approve.
Carol Ann Rogers.
Approve.
Mike Pittman,
Approve.
Jed Skillman.
Approve.
Have you got it memorized what I tell you now? You'll get your C of A in the mail, and make sure you get all your permits. It'll go to him. And, he'll need a permit for demolition too, won't he? Or will he?
No, he's already filed for all of his other permits necessary, so we'll go through and, do the reviews on them.
Perfect.
He's got some things on the house.
Good.
Good deal.
I don't exactly know what that is, but it's you guys.
Nicole's got him.
Yeah, there's one on the back and one on the front. If you drive by there, you'll see them. I put them up.
Well, we thank you for what you're doing on Walnut Street. That's great.
I'm really excited about that.
Sounds wonderful.
All of Walnut Street makes me happy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wonderful.
I know Madison is so pretty anyway. It's just that street really needed help, so.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it.
We used to own, just a little bit of information, we used to own the house like across the street and down a few. It's the house that has the archway, you can walk between the two.
Yeah.
Dad and I owned that
Oh, wow.
Those
in
archways.
the late seventies.
That's beauty.
So it's, tried to get him to buy that house again, but it burned and it was in very, very bad shape. So, thank you.
If I could ask
Thank you
you,
very
Yes,
much.
I do.
Appreciate it.
what was the building that's right near the house that you had before? It looks like it's a bunch of storefronts. What was that?
Really don't know. I know what you're talking about. I'm trying to remember what that was in the late seventies when we bought that house. It was 2 apartments, and there was a garage in the back that had a little apartment over top. It's not there anymore. Somebody told me that burned and they tore it down. But that was added later. That
Okay.
would have been historic. But originally, there were 2 apartments in that building that we bought. There's one upstairs and one downstairs. And there was a stairs inside it. I don't know if there is still, I think. Don't know. But anyway, that was like.
Curious about the neighborhood.
I think those are neat arches.
Thank you.
Good night,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Our next applicant is my neighbor, Kara Fox,
And she's been.
602 West Main.
waiting.
Too late.
Just noting before she gets started that 505 Craigmont Street was incomplete due to lack of payment and signage. So Kira's was after that one.
Okay,
Name and address. Since
Nicole,
Mike won't ask.
602 West Main Street, the property.
which is
And
my
will you
neighbor.
just hit the button on the mic? Thank you.
She's gotta live close.
This is a contributing 1915 20th century commercial. The COA request is to replace a window with double doors on the side of the building and install gas lighting on the building. This is the front facade facing Main Street. This photo shows the side where the new door is going to replace a window. An example of the gas lantern she would like to install on the building. And then a photo of the double doors, and then I added where the new double doors is gonna go. It's between the 2 garage doors to replace the double window. That's all I have.
Kara, would you like to add anything?
No, not really. This is phase 1 of, we're doing a lot of interior renovations. And so this will allow me to scoot into the middle section of the building, which is what you guys see here. It's a big garage area. There's nothing historically accurate about it. We're just wanting to beautify it. The plan is though, once we get the side done, we will come back to you guys and we would like to put, more historically accurate doors and windows on the front and the front of the building. They're pretty modern and ugly. So anyway, in order for me to get to phase 2, we gotta get to phase 1. You guys talked about fire codes. It is very much, needed that we have those doors as we are going to be working out that middle section, during the second phase.
So Karen, so Nicole says the 1915 build date, that's for the Main Street part of the building, right? So I always thought this part of the building was fabulous and might even have been part of the foundation for Weber Brewing.
I have a picture of it.
Yeah, I know.
It was.
So, same here, and I
Yeah.
just that you go by and you just see that side, that east wall so mutilated by all those industrial doors.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really sad.
Yeah, it's, I've ever hit a couple lotteries. I would love to build it back to what it was. But yeah, there actually were 3 doors when it was Weber Brewing, 16 windows on all 3 floors. So anyway, yeah, I walk from my home to work several times a day, and I always dream of what the side of this building could be. So anyway, that's where we're headed.
Good.
So,
Are you saying it was 3 stories?
yeah, yeah. It
This was
beautiful.
3 stories?
It was,
yeah,
yes, I have a picture of it, it would blow your mind. It had a cupola bigger than the one on the courthouse,
Wow.
and,
And
yeah.
doesn't it have some great, like, lower level features?
It
too?
does,
I heard.
yes, that's gonna be my phase 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a basement that you can drive in the very back, and the building wraps and butts up to Ellie Troutman's house, which you see, that's where the brewmaster lived. So we have common wall there. A lot of neat history.
Yeah.
There's some pretty arches in the very back of it. We're not really sure. There's some talk of history with the Underground Railroad, but I've not confirmed any of that. So anyway, we just want to make it pretty and grow into all 10,000 square feet. So
Are the garage doors, the 2 that are on both sides of the door you're
Yes.
wanting to put in there, are those operable? Do those open?
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
So there is access in there?
Well, there is access, but the fire marshal, you'd have to get special permits to deem those.
Overhead doors.
Yes, the overhead doors don't count.
Okay.
So, and we need double doors anyway. So
So is it, just looking ahead, is that your dream down the road to take those 2 garage doors out and go to a wall there?
not necessarily. Haven't really thought that far down. Those doors come in pretty handy for the use that we have there. It's kind of the fun of the building. So yeah, not at this time. Maybe when I hit those 3 lotteries.
Do you know what used to be where the window is before, like as far as opening wise?
From what I could see on the old historic picture, I'm guessing that was one of the doors. There were actually 4 doors down the side, and so I'm gonna guess that it was a door. But it caught fire when it was the Hampton Cracker Factory in, I believe, the 40s. So, yeah.
Who knows?
But yeah, this is in the collection from the library. But
So this new door, it's gonna be a much bigger opening than the window that's there now, right?
no, it's actually about the same size.
I just tried to put the door in so you all could see where it was located, so not to scale.
BJ Combs Construction is who's doing our work.
Because there are like, what do you call them, headers across all the windows and doors on that side of the building.
There is.
So it will be, the door will be the header of that window.
Yes, we've talked about a transom, but we are not looking at a transom right now just because of the height and
But it would
everything.
still be the size of that
Yes.
window.
Yeah,
door.
basically, you're just gonna pop the window up, take the brick down to the bottom, and we'll be putting the double door in.
Okay. Did you find anything?
What about the gas lights,
What about them?
light fixtures? Is that same, is it, yeah, those same the ones you got in your house? or
They're
is it-
very similar. Yeah,
Okay.
they're almost identical to the ones on the house.
Okay.
My neighbors have gas lights, so I had to have them too. Now, we do plan, as I said, we move around to the front of the building. It would be my goal to put the same style door and gas lights on the front of the building as well. And it happens that the gas lines are very conveniently located. So
Cool.
that was my first question.
Neat. Okay.
What's your door gonna be made out of?
It is a fiberglass door.
Is that pretty much an accurate picture of it?
Yeah, it's very accurate, yes. It's, it kind of resembles if you were to see the original historic 3-story building. It had 2 double doors on the front. Now, they had archways over top of them, which all the windows did as well. But it's it just kind of takes it back to, something a little more historic instead of a new industrial garage look.
I would ask for comments from the audience since we don't have one.
No, we don't have any.
Sandy, would you like to try another findings of fact tonight?
Sure.
Feel like a double header?
All right. Doors and entrances, 9.1 is retain and preserve original doors and entrances. Well, 9.2 is maintain and preserve original doors and entrances. 9.5, if historic doors are missing or are deteriorated, install replacement doors that match the originals. Never create a new door opening where none existed on a readily visible facade. I guess we'll have to say that we're not in compliance on that, given that it is a very visible side and it is a new opening. But it's also, I mean, not an historic accurate opening that's there. Light fixtures, select simple designs appropriate to the character of the building. Do not allow light fixtures to damage or obscure architectural features. I don't think they would in this case. You're talking about on both sides of those doors. For commercial buildings, Goose Milk similar downlight. That's not what you're suggesting here. Light fixtures which direct the illumination down rather than up are recommended. I don't think the illumination in the gas lights is gonna be an issue. And choose lighting sources that generate a soft white light instead of a more intensive yellow or orange light. Windows, it's pretty much the same. Retain and preserve historic windows. We're talking about switching a window to a door. Maintain existing historic windows where possible. Repair existing historic windows where possible. Replace in kind, use replacement windows that match the existing historic elements. I don't think that this request is in conformance with this. Again, the same reason I said on the doors, it seems like a reasonable exception to the guidelines. I would approve the application.
Jed?
In a heartbeat.
I approve.
I would approve it, but also add that this is also, to make the building compliant with the fire codes as well. Ken?
I agree with Michael, same reasons.
I agree with Michael, same reasons.
I agree, same reasons.
Do we have a motion?
Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that the Madison Historic District Board of Review grant a certificate of appropriateness to Kara Fox for the 602 West Main Street building to replace a window with a double door on the side of the building and install gas lights.
Do we have a second?
A second.
Roll call vote, please, Nicole.
Jed Skillman,
Approved.
Sandy Palmer,
Approve.
Michael Zink,
Approve.
Carolyn Rogers,
Approve.
Ken McWilliams,
Approve.
Happy Smith,
Approve.
Mike Pittman.
Approve.
Thank you.
Kara, you will get your certificate of appropriateness in the mail, and make sure you get all your necessary permits.
I will.
All right, thank you.
Mr. McWilliams, if you ever want to get rid of your sign, come see me. I know you have a good one.
I'm standing offer of 1,000 that we,
I heard.
God, there are no secrets.
Absolutely, there are not, no.
Well, it's on YouTube, I mean, come on.
I know, that's just hilarious.
Okay, new business.
I don't have any new or old business.
I have some new business. Maybe this is old business.
Any updates on,
Wait a minute, I got new business.
this is old business.
No, I'm
No,
new-
it's not, it is,
new
you're right,
business.
sorry.
I think I sent Nicole a email regarding applicants that don't show for their applications. I would like to see us require them to come in and get new signs since the date.
No, we can't hear you down here, or I can't.
You can't?
Nope.
Well,
Oh, thank you.
since the old signs have the old dates on them for the hearing, the new signs would have the new dates, and it will require them to come in. The cost for the new signs is $2 a piece.
Signs are $2 a piece.
So depending on how many signs they get, it would be nominal, but at least, the public would know that they're coming before the board again with the same requirements. So I would like to see us implement that. Would that be like a procedure or?
Yes.
Okay, I would like to implement a new procedure where we require that for the no-shows at the applications.
Do you need a second or is that?
So for procedurally, to amend our procedures, it has to be on the legal notice, so with the consent of the board, I'll add that to the next legal notice and we can vote on it at the next meeting.
That'd be fine.
Okay.
Is that okay with the board?
Yes.
Thank you all. Now, Ken,
Raise the price.
hey,
Only council can do that.
So no one can hear this. Any updates on Hagemeyer issue?
Which issue?
Because when the board met with Joe Jenner 3 months ago, they thought it would warm back up the beginning of this year.
that should be done in executive session. I don't think it's appropriate for us to do an open
Yeah.
session.
Never mind.
I am
Just
happy.
turn this off.
I will reach out to Devin and Joe to see if an executive session is warranted for current litigation, and I will let the board know.
Yeah, and also there's been some other previous litigation too, I think we need to get an update on as well. Thank you.
Told you I turned on my phone, I know.
Still on public record.
Okay, any old business? Or, excuse me, any more new business? Other than welcome Jed. You survived your first meeting, Jed. Congratulations.
Get through it unscathed.
But you're buying drinks.
But I got a question. That used to be a three-story building.
Yes.
What happened, what was the building originally?
It was a brewery,
Oh,
from what Kara said, so.
Piper Brewery.
Old business. Any old business? Okay, staff report.
Sorry, it's so small. I didn't realize that when
Oh,
I.
You
jeez.
forget who you have up here, or is this?
This is the first time I've had this plugged in, so I apologize. Yeah, have a printed copy if anyone wants to see it in person. But there are 7 COAs that staff reviewed. First one, 611 East Street for siding. 705 East Second is the second one for siding, gutters, and windows. 118 East Main Street as a sign. 317 Mulberry Street as windows, doors, and lighting. 132 East Main as another sign. 612 Mulberry Street is doors, porches, and windows. And 604 Mulberry are doors. So that's what staff reviewed in February. I do have one more staff review pending, but they requested to put on new siding, and then they exposed a brick structure, so staff's hoping to work with them.
Okay,
So that may be coming before you.
And, but Nicole, on 604, that's the one that was staff, put it on this one, but the
Yes.
front door, the transom currently is covered, and they were replacing the door, were they gonna, and it said door and transom, but I didn't know.
They're
if
gonna
they were-
restore the transom.
They were gonna restore it,
Yep.
okay. All right, thank you.
Jed, if staff didn't have authorization to approve these things, all these projects would have to come before the board. So we made sure that she had all the authorization she needed to do all our work.
And then 2023 COA, last February, you only had one application approved for an entry wall modification. That project is in progress. It has not been completed, but it's within the COA allowed work. That's all.
okay, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion that we adjourn this evening's meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. And I want to thank the audience for not sticking around.
Yeah.